She did such a beautiful job, and I can't believe how natural she is, and I'm just proud of you. I'm so proud of you, and I can't believe how big and grown up you are, and I'm proud that she's gonna represent so many young brown girls around the world.
A leaked family video of Beyoncé and Blue Ivy didn't just slip out. It blew up like a bomb. The Carters' $2.5 billion empire is now racing to do damage control before the whole thing spirals even further. What looked like a sweet behind-the-scenes moment has turned into a full-blown cultural shockwave. The clip, allegedly filmed during the 2024 Super Bowl weekend, shows Beyoncé off-camera looking tense while Jay-Z guides Blue Ivy and Rumi toward a field photo op. What once seemed like pure family love now feels more like a perfectly planned act for the cameras. The image of unity they tried to show has suddenly cracked open, exposing what looks like the careful machinery behind their flawless public image. And it couldn't have come at a worse time. That same weekend, Jay-Z was everywhere, posing with the twins, smiling for the paparazzi, and hyping up Beyoncé's big moment. But just days later, the private clip began circulating among insiders in the entertainment world, and that's when everything started to shift. The footage reportedly shows a tense scene: Blue Ivy crying off camera, Beyoncé whispering something to an aide, and Jay-Z quietly turning his back on both. What was once a golden image of family perfection now has everyone whispering, what's really going on behind the Carter curtain? For a family that's built its whole legacy on control and perfection, this leak looked like the first real crack in the glass. Just months before, Beyoncé had told GQ that her top priority was giving her kids as much normal life and privacy as possible. She said she was fiercely protective, someone who guarded her home life like a fortress and only cared about peace and boundaries. But now, that quote is everywhere, looped side by side with the leaked footage. And the contrast is hard to ignore. What was supposed to show calm and care now looks more like management in action. The energy in that clip, the tone, the silence, the way no one moved too much, feels like control on camera. It's as if everyone there knew the cameras were still rolling, but nobody dared to break character. Beyoncé and Jay-Z's control over their image has always been legendary. From the secret 2008 wedding to the artfully raw moments in Lemonade, they've mastered how to show emotion without ever really being exposed. But in December 2024, when that civil case dropped accusing Jay-Z of misconduct alongside Sean Combs, the cracks started showing. Jay-Z fired back instantly, denying every claim and calling them heinous and fabricated. Still, insiders can't ignore the timing. The leak appeared just weeks after that lawsuit hit the headlines, and that's got people whispering. The running theory? The video was never supposed to see daylight. It was buried because it didn't match the picture-perfect family front they were trying to hold together during the chaos. Just one day after that lawsuit hit the public, the entire Carter family stepped out on the red carpet for the Mufasa, the Lion King premiere in Los Angeles, and they looked flawless. Beyoncé shimmered in gold, Blue Ivy was glowing beside her, and Jay-Z stood tall like a man completely untouched by scandal. Cameras even caught Carter-Knowles nearby, flashing a tight smile from behind a column, like she knew the pressure bubbling underneath all that glamour. But behind the scenes, things were tense.
The family out tonight is a family affair. I saw your mother-in-law so proud of.
We support each other.
Sources say Beyoncé's team had gone into what one insider called media lockdown. Publicists were told to cut off any outside access. Social media staff were instructed to filter every comment, and anyone who dared mention the lawsuit risked being frozen out for good. The family's mission was crystal clear: keep things looking normal while quietly shutting down anything that could chip away at that perfect image. What no one in the public realized was that the leaked footage making waves online might not have been an innocent behind-the-scenes moment at all. Insiders close to Parkwood Entertainment claim it came from a scrapped 2023 documentary project, a private family-style film that was supposed to follow Beyoncé's Renaissance tour. Early versions reportedly featured raw interviews and unguarded moments, including one emotional scene where Beyoncé broke down over Jay-Z's repeated infidelity. The entire project was suddenly canceled with zero explanation, and every piece of footage was locked away tight. If that rumor holds true, the current leak could actually be part of that forgotten documentary, resurfacing through a quiet back-channel deal. And now, the connection between that lost scene and Blue Ivy's off-camera distress has people talking. Many believe it wasn't just a child's meltdown, but a mother's hidden pain spilling through the cracks of her own perfectly controlled world. Industry insiders say the December allegations were the exact moment Beyoncé drew a hard line in the sand. Word is, she was furious that Jay-Z's past had once again exploded into the spotlight. especially when her next major rollout, Act 3 of the Renaissance trilogy, was supposed to cement her image as an untouchable matriarch, a woman in full control of her empire. A PR consultant who's worked with both Roc Nation and Disney spilled that Beyoncé's order was crystal clear: protect the family, silence the noise. Everything else can burn. That single directive explains why, even as the internet buzzed with doubt over Jay-Z's innocence, the Carters stood shoulder to shoulder in public, Beyoncé's hand resting firmly on his chest, Blue Ivy between them, the perfect portrait of strength under pressure. But behind that flawless image, the cracks were widening fast. Every appearance, every photo, every caption was part of a desperate effort to hold the story together. And when the lawsuit was finally dismissed in February 2025, Jay-Z came out swinging with a bold victory statement, calling the accusations fictitious and appalling. Still, whispers in the industry claimed the damage had already been done, and Beyoncé's patience was running thinner than ever. Jay-Z said the trauma his wife and kids went through could never be dismissed, but even with those emotional words, something felt off. The statement read like closure, yet fans immediately noticed what was missing: Beyoncé's voice. She didn't repost it, didn't comment, and quietly backed out of a few scheduled appearances. For someone who's always had full control over how she's seen, that silence was deafening. It screamed louder than any PR statement ever could. Then came the whispers, rumors from people who once worked inside Parkwood. They claimed the leaked footage wasn't an accident at all. According to them, someone released it on purpose to show the world what had been erased. They said the original documentary showed a completely different side of the Carters, one that wasn't glossy or filtered. It revealed exhaustion, mistrust, and a marriage that seemed to survive more out of business necessity than out of genuine love. One former editor allegedly told colleagues, if this was buried to protect their image, what else did they erase? That one question set the internet on fire. Now, online sleuths are dissecting old tour footage, interviews, and even red carpet clips, searching for micro-expressions, chopped edits, and any hint that the truth had been hiding in plain sight. The image of Beyoncé and Jay-Z as an unbreakable power couple has outlasted scandals before.
I felt like, they had a whole lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in, because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do.
Infidelity rumors, wild conspiracies, even that unforgettable elevator fight that nearly ended it all. But this latest wave feels different. It's deeper, more personal, and it cuts right through the brand they've spent decades building. This isn't just about art, image, or gossip anymore. It's about whether their entire love story has been a perfectly engineered strategy. Insiders close to Roc Nation describe their relationship as a kind of contractual stability, where love might take a backseat to shared goals and empire maintenance. Even that picture-perfect 2018 vow renewal, filmed during the On the Run 2 tour and projected as a symbol of reconciliation, now looks suspiciously staged, like another scene in a carefully directed performance meant to keep the fantasy alive. The all-white outfits, the kids by their side, and that glowing on-screen text, "This is real love." It looked flawless on camera, like a fairy tale ending. But according to several crew members who worked on the shoot, the magic wasn't so real after all. They revealed that Beyoncé and Jay-Z filmed their parts weeks apart, each with their own separate schedule. That tiny detail has reignited some heavy questions. Were they already living separate lives back in 2018? Was that vow renewal a real moment of healing, or just a perfectly timed reset for the cameras? Now, people who were on set claim the whole thing was strictly business. The emotional gestures, rehearsed, the smiles, timed by camera cues. Even the angles and edits were reportedly chosen only for what fit the myth. The image of the Carters as a couple who had conquered every storm together. They didn't just want to look united, they wanted the world to believe it. But now, with the resurfacing of that raw, unfiltered clip between Beyoncé and her daughter, the illusion is starting to crack wide open. The question isn't whether they're happy, it's whether they're even being real with each other anymore. And that brings everyone back to Jay-Z's 2017 confession in 444, when he said, "I apologize. Our love was one for the ages, and I contained us." Looking back now, that line feels less like a song lyric and more like a warning, one that maybe nobody truly listened to until now. That track on 444 wasn't just a heartfelt confession, it was a legal time bomb. Back then, everyone heard remorse and redemption in Jay-Z's lyrics. But now, through the lens of that leaked footage, it feels less like honesty and more like preemptive damage control. When Beyoncé dropped Lemonade the year before, the world celebrated it as raw art, a woman turning betrayal into power and pain into poetry. But what if Lemonade wasn't healing at all? What if those lyrics were actually coded messages, a quiet truce, a deal between two billionaires who couldn't afford to break apart? Suddenly, that entire era starts to look less like love and more like business, like a carefully staged PR chess game. According to insiders, Jay-Z's 444 wasn't just about asking for forgiveness, it was about proving accountability right before certain contracts came up for renewal. Sources even claim there was a clause in their shared business portfolio that required public image alignment after any scandal that could shake the Carter brand. If that's true, then that so-called apology wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. It wasn't a husband bearing his soul, it was a mogul protecting his empire. And right after that came the On the Run 2 tour in 2018, the same one where the world witnessed their stunning vow renewal. Fans thought it was love reborn, but now it's being re-examined as something entirely different. A brilliant performance move designed to restore faith in their marriage and keep the brand unbreakable in the eyes of millions. The On the Run 2 footage showed a picture-perfect scene, matching white outfits, glowing candles, and the twins watching as their parents held each other close. It looked pure and emotional, like a real moment of love reborn. But now, several former staffers are saying that picture was heavily staged. They claim the ceremony everyone saw wasn't even filmed when people thought.
How excited is your husband about this baby?
You can only imagine and multiply that. It's like the time can't come fast enough.
I think you should enjoy this time while you can.
I'm trying my best, but I'm still anxious. I want to hold the baby.
It was allegedly shot weeks later, long after the supposed renewal had actually happened. According to two production insiders, the shoot was quietly added once breakup rumors started swirling and ticket sales began to dip. The goal? To take control of the story before the tabloids did. As one former videographer reportedly said, they needed to remind everyone that Beyoncé forgave him, even if that forgiveness was staged. That single statement has fans rethinking everything they thought they knew. What's wild is how every big public reconciliation seems to have lined up perfectly with a private crisis. The timing's too clean to ignore. When the 2024 lawsuit against Jay-Z exploded just as Beyoncé was prepping her next major project and rebranding herself as the unshakable cultural matriarch, his legal troubles threatened to crumble the illusion of the solid family she'd worked so hard to present since Lemonade. So when the case was finally dismissed in February 2025, Jay-Z proudly called it a victory, writing that the claims were fictitious and that his family's suffering could never be dismissed. But to those watching closely, that statement didn't sound like relief. It sounded like another carefully polished move in a long-running game of image control. But inside the industry, nobody really believed it was over. The timing of that video leak, just weeks after the lawsuit vanished, was way too perfect to be random. If this was a real leak, it came from someone with access, intent, and a score to settle. Some insiders are even whispering that the drop wasn't meant to take down Jay-Z at all. The real target, they claim, was Beyoncé. According to chatter from within her own circle, the video might have been revenge from a disillusioned member of her creative team, someone who'd grown tired of what they called Beyoncé's obsession with perfection. In their eyes, that control had crossed into cruelty. They say the footage doesn't show Beyoncé as the victim of fame. It shows her as the architect of it. The woman who built an empire preaching privacy, but allegedly turned her own family into part of the brand. Every glance rehearsed, every laugh timed, every smile monetized. That's the paradox of her power. The more she controls the story, the less authentic she seems. And now the conversation is changing fast. Fans who once defended her like family are beginning to question everything. Has her need for perfection trapped not only her image, but her entire family in an endless performance? The internet split, insiders are tense, and for the first time in years, Beyoncé's untouchable mystique looks dangerously close to cracking wide open. Blue Ivy's growing spotlight, on stage, in films, even at major award shows, was meant to represent legacy, a torch being passed from mother to daughter. But after that leaked footage, it's hitting completely differently. Now it looks less like a proud parent moment and more like a young girl being rehearsed into the brand before she's even old enough to choose it. Every red carpet, every camera flash raises a tough question. Are we witnessing family pride or pressure disguised as perfection? That question hangs heavy over every single frame of that leaked video. And the clip isn't just about Beyoncé and Blue Ivy, it's about Rumi and Sir too. The twins have always lived quietly in the background, shielded from the spotlight that follows their sister. They were supposed to represent the family's private heart, the part untouched by fame. But insiders now claim the footage shows something unexpected. Brief, tense moments where Beyoncé allegedly scolds her team for letting the twins drift off schedule, snapping about lack of discipline during what was supposed to be a relaxed family outing. There's no chaos or shouting, nothing aggressive, but there's a chill in the tone. It's the sound of a boss, not a mom. A woman managing a billion-dollar brand built on the illusion of effortless grace and warmth. For years, fans pointed to Beyoncé's quiet protection of Rumi and Sir as proof of her strong maternal boundaries, that she knew where the line was between fame and family. But according to those who've seen parts of the unreleased footage, that image might not be the full truth. What's being revealed isn't cruelty, it's control. The kind that makes even her most devoted fans wonder whether motherhood in the Carter world has become just another part of the performance.
Your kids think you're cool?
Blue, she be fronting on me a little bit, but I catch her.
According to insiders, the Carter children's daily lives are run with the kind of precision you'd expect from a music video shoot. Every routine, education, playtime, even quiet moments is reportedly timed, rehearsed, and filmed to fit the family's signature aesthetic. One former assistant allegedly confided that the twins weren't even allowed to cry on filming days, a rule that sounds unbelievable until you remember how deeply the Carter empire depends on projecting divine calm and total control. If even part of that is true, it pushes the story far beyond celebrity parenting. It becomes a glimpse into what happens when the pressure to protect a myth collides with the natural chaos of childhood. The Carter twins are growing up in a world where every emotion has stakes, where a single tantrum could turn into a headline, and where being seen the wrong way risks shaking a billion-dollar brand. That's what makes this leak so haunting. It's not just gossip, it's a psychological snapshot, a peek into what it might actually cost to raise children inside a life that allows no imperfection. The footage doesn't scream scandal, it whispers exhaustion, discipline, and quiet control. Observers close to the family describe a chilling kind of perfectionism, one where love is measured by image and affection has to fit the brand. The empire feeds on visuals, and even the youngest Carters are reportedly learning early that in this dynasty, love might come with performance clauses. It's a story that leaves fans torn, admiring the brilliance, but questioning the price of maintaining a world that never cracks, even when it should. Observers are now pointing out how the twins' rare public appearances, whether on stage during Cowboy Carter or in sleek Ivy Park promotions, suddenly look a lot less like family cameos and more like subtle initiation into the brand itself. They're not being shielded from fame. They're being shaped by it. Every matching outfit, every choreographed smile, every perfectly framed camera angle reinforces one message. Being a Carter means contributing to the myth that keeps the empire alive. It's not exploitation in the classic sense, it's conditioning. And the more that leaks about how carefully these moments are managed, the harder it is to believe that the kids' privacy is truly being protected. What once looked like a loving family legacy now feels like a dynasty training program, one that blurs the line between affection and ambition. At its core, the question isn't just what Beyoncé and Jay-Z might be hiding, it's what they're teaching. If Blue Ivy is the model for the next Carter dynasty, then Rumi and Sir are the prototypes, raised in an environment where control and care might be indistinguishable. The leaked footage doesn't just challenge the Carter's image.
Beyonce's really pregnant.
Right.
People gonna believe what they want to believe anyway, so, I mean, why waste my time?
And sometimes you respond to something that brings way more attention to it, too.
That too, and it's just, it goes into another space, and then you just like, are y'all not listening to me?
It exposes the legacy machine behind it. In trying to build the perfect brand, the Carters might have created a dynasty that can't even breathe without an audience watching. And now, the world's waiting to see if the next generation will ever learn to live beyond the lens. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's empire is facing its own quiet reckoning. His powerhouse partnerships with the NFL and LVMH still stand, but analysts have started to notice a quiet shift. Major advertisers are slowly pulling back from projects linked to his name. It's subtle, but it's there. And in the world of billion-dollar brands, silence like that can speak louder than scandal. It's not a total collapse, more like a cautious retreat. Insiders describe the current mood inside Roc Nation as pure tension and silence. Everyone's on edge, waiting to see what move comes next. Sources say Beyoncé has locked things down even tighter, upping security, enforcing stricter NDAS, and ordering a full internal audit of every piece of archived content. It's fortress mode now, But that level of control is exactly what's fueling public suspicion that something deep inside the Carter empire might be starting to crack. In many ways, this moment feels like the end of the Carter myth as we once knew it. The story that started with Bonnie and Clyde's swagger and power couple perfection has slowly dissolved into damage control, whispered betrayals, and quiet mistrust. And yet, the irony cuts deep, because every new scandal only makes their legend bigger. For all the outrage, all the speculation, the world just can't look away. The Carters built their empire on secrecy and silence, but that leaked footage didn't just expose their flaws, it confirmed their greatest fear. The world is always watching. Now, everyone's wondering, what if there's even more footage out there? What if the clips we haven't seen yet are darker, more revealing, and harder to bury? And the question haunting fans and insiders alike, what if the brand they built to protect their family is the very thing that ends up consuming it? Because in the empire of image, every silence, every glance, every frame tells a story, and this one's still unfolding. So stay tuned, because this saga is far from over. If you've been following every twist and whisper, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about what's next for the Carters, because perfection in Hollywood, it always comes at a price.